revolves over the past few decades. What can you say? Even the time you were, remember you were once the governor of Ondo State
I
between
was a
1988 and
military governor.
1990. Military governor, yes. I
Mm,
knew that
mm,
period between 88
yeah.
and 90 before
Mm.
we got into uh, um, the political
Civilian.
era. Yes.
Mm,
So
mm,
please, sir, in your short words,
mm.
what are your
Now,
biggest
now
achievements?
let me no. If you talk about an achievement, that would be talking about personal. But
Okay.
let's talk about the nation, our
Okay.
contribution.
Okay.
You know, oh yes, I was military governor, and you know, the military administration in any government is an aberration. It is an aberration. I have been on both sides. An aberration because you see, a system, a governance must have three, it's a three-legged body: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative arm. Three-legged body. And as an engineer, I can tell you confidently, a three-legged body is a very stable platform. These three bodies are independent of each other. Now, the executive, they manage the resources on behalf of the people. The judiciary, they adjudicate. If there are crises, there are legal issues, there are this and that, they adjudicate. Now, the legislative, that is the lawmaking body, they represent their various constituencies. They are approve the budget based on the needs as you from your constituencies. You will contribute and you do that, and so it's quite a balanced one. So when I was a governor, we had only two bodies: the executive and the judiciary. I read into Papa Ulawo's books, and I realized that's where I learned that in democracy, there must be a three-legged body. So getting to Akure, which was the first time, you know, it was a military appointment and it's a military posting. I got there and I thought, I haven't read this Baba's book. How do I manage? Because to manage the resources of that land for the benefit of the people, you must have the third leg, which is the legislative arm. Now you had your commissioners, and I said to myself, how if whatever policies that we want to get involved in, how would it impact the people? How would they know what we are doing? How would I have a feedback from them? So how many commissioners can you hold? So I created a situation where every Thursdays of every week that I spent there, I was governor from
88. 88.
1987, 1987 to 1990, 3 years. Now, so I made sure every Thursday of every month, I headed to one or two or three, depending on the time frame, to a local government. I listened to them. There will be the KBACs, there will also be elders, there will be markets, women leaders, there will be youths. It was like a public forum where you want to hear what their needs are and what we are doing there. If people or civil servants have been lying to you and telling you stories, all is well, sir. It's a public forum. You will tell, they bring them along with me. And that was how we were able to balance governance, to make it like a democratic dispensation. Otherwise, you sit down in your office, you listen to them, you sign the papers, you don't know whether you are positively impacting on the people or not. That was my experience, and the history is there for anybody to go back and check. We did the best. At that time, it was there was no Ekiti state, so it was Ondo state then that had now Ekiti. So you can imagine the size of what we did, and we covered. We did the best we can. We went around. You can't do it all. I remember in particular that having listed out the social needs of the people, like public water supply, electricity supply, the hydro dams in such places that will bring succor. We even bought these machines for farming. You know, I've forgotten what they call it now, and gave to people free of charge, so that they could go to their farms, cultivate, because it's quite an expensive equipment. It's
The mechanized tractors, sir.
tractors. We gave them these tractors free of charge once you apply. We bought about 200. We separated them, and then people used it, so that the production, for that period became, high enough for the people to feed and for them to make some money. And I remember, where you get the positivity if you've done well, was when I now came into politics. I went back to Ondo State and now Ekiti State. People remembered me positively. They were happy to welcome me as a civilian, and we did the best we could. They listened because they know I tell you the truth. Well, what am I afraid of? And so that was one experience with the military. Now with the civilian administration, I came back. I joined up with Papa. I was actually living in England. I left here. I was living in England, and then Baba was released from prison, and his wife was my classmate, Stella. So she called me, and we went out for dinner, took them out for dinner in London, and they were telling me all the stories about, General Abdul Salami handing over power to a civilian administration, and people have been worrying him that he should come and join and all that. So the first day I said, well, it's okay. Then I went back home, thought about it with some of my friends, some of my classmates who were living there. And I looked at it that if they were inviting him to come, we are transiting now from the military to a civilian administration. Mm-hmm. So I said to them that, look, the best thing I could see on the level of capabilities and capacities, that we must still transit. Baba Obasanjo has been tested and tried, that we can't just jump from the military and straight back, so that we don't have that experience of Papa Shagari. You remember how the military handed over to Shagari only to roll back again. Mm-hmm. So if it's a civilian administration, I told him that I would be happy to come back. So that was how I flew back on the day he was launching his campaign, and that's how I joined up as a civilian politician. And the first, I remember I went to Jos for the convention. I went with him. I started working with his campaign, and I became like the chief logistician officer, planning the movements, and which is my part of training in the military. And we covered quite a lot of areas.
All right, Chief. Chief, so, the issue, Chief, the issue on ground is burning. We want more political topic related discussion.
Okay.
So I'm bringing in George now. I'm bringing in George, one man, one woman. George from Toronto, Canada. George, go ahead. What? Yes, let's make it more political now.
My namesake, Chief. It is such a pleasure
George
having
is
you once again.
Yeah, it's my son.
Yes. But it's good to
Yeah,
have you here once again, and
no problem.
what a breath of fresh air to have you with us, Chief. You
Yes,
have been a loyal custodian of PDP ship
absolutely.
through stormy waters. Okay,
Yeah.
but with so many politicians jumping ship lately, do you
Mm.
ever feel like you are one of the last men standing at the old family house?
I want to be frank with you because I'm talking to those who are in diaspora. I don't know the ages, but you all sound that you are young and thriving. You see, when the founding fathers of our party came together, they were put together by Papa Alex Ekweme
Mhm.
because they have seen the experiences of this country in the First Republic, why it failed. They saw the consequences of the failure again in the Second Republic. So they came together and decided that, look, let us look at our country, Nigeria. The failure of the First Republic was centered on majority tribes and minority tribes. Every election, majority tribes will win, minority tribes were just mere onlookers. It didn't all go well because a nation that discriminates against any group, you cannot, you won't do well. It's not a cause.
That's right.
We must be able to carry, because when God created us, whether you are minority or majority tribe, did you request God that I want to go to the majority tribe or minority tribe where you are being born? No,
No, you did not.
you just came. And it didn't say that because you are a minority tribe, you won't have brains. I said, I have traversed the length and breadth of this country. There is no part of this country you won't find a genius in any known field. So, the sensing of bringing every one of us together to form a nationhood, whether you are minority or majority, once you have that feeling being a member and you are proud to be a member of this country, makes a lot of difference. So they came together, they then took Nigeria and divided Nigeria. It's not in the national constitution of our party. They divided Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones. In other words, you have the Northwest, the Northeast, the North Central, the Southwest, the Southeast, and the South South. So you see, they have created 6 geopolitical zones. Whether you are minority or majority, you are one of those zones. And then they came up and said, look, let us create 6 top positions in the country: the president, the vice president, the senate president, the speaker, the secretary to the government, and the national chairman of the party. 6 zones, 6 top positions. So each zone will go home with one of these 6 top positions. Unlike before, when the prime minister did this and that, then they leave the crumbs to the minority tribes. So they then said, if the president goes to the north, the vice president must come to the south. The senate president will go to the north. The speaker will go to the south. The secretary to government will go to the north. The national chairman will come to the south. So all the odd numbers will go to one zone, while the even numbers will be in another zone. And what it takes is, after 8 years, all positions in the north will come to the south. All the 3 positions in the south will go to the north. You know what that has brought us? It has brought us that sense of belonging. It means that no matter how minority you are, when it is your time to hold any of these top positions, you will have it. That is the PDP. We didn't make it open. And so that was how when we went for election and sold these ideas to people, they bought it. They saw the sense in it and they agreed with it. And each zone had one of the top positions. Now, after some, do you know human behavior? When Buhari finished his term, and let me say something. When Baba Obasanjo finished his 8th year, I remember, I won't mention the names of those characters. We were just about 6 at the meeting. When one man was particularly insisting that we should forget about zoning and they should allow somebody from the south to continue. I remember that night. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. Baba lost his temper and said, listen, there is a concept of operation. There is a procedure established by the founding fathers. It will not be on my watch that I will throw that away. I have been privileged to run for 8 years. The next 8 years must be from the north. And so the north must produce the next president. That's how Yaradua became president. Now, we settled down. All the 3 positions in the south went north. All the 3 positions in the north came south. Remember, the vice president was now from the south. The chairman of the party also came from the south, and on and on and on. So 3 up, 3 down. But when, Buhari now became president, when Jonathan finished, General Buhari became president. All right? Now, he spent 8 years. Those 8 years concluded. That's why they nominated Bola Tinubu from the south to take over as the president. The interesting part of it is the APC initially told us they don't believe in zoning, but they saw the sense in it that if we want to move from just being a mere country to a nationhood, we had to carry everybody along. So Buhari spent his 8 years. They zoned the presidency now to the south. The mess with PDP was Atiku, who is a northerner, now wanted to contest as a northerner immediately after Buhari. That was the beginning of our crisis, because a lot of people came and said, no, you can't do this. But they manipulated it in a way that, because usually you have a zoning committee who will do the rezoning, of both the elective offices and the party offices. They told us that the committee, the zoning committee, forgot to zone the elective offices and only zone the party offices. And so there was a lapse of about 6 months that they hadn't done the zoning of elective offices. And therefore, they should allow all the zones to compete. Some of us told them, you are looking for serious trouble. You are looking for serious trouble. They manipulated the convention and Atiku emerged. The story now went on. It now became North versus South, whereas it should have been a South versus South competing for the position. Since Buhari spent 8 years, it should be also 8 years in the South. And this is the problem we had that created a monumental crisis with the PDP. And we are just lucky that we still have some of the old hands. When you have an old man in the village and there is a little crisis, they take you back into the history of the community to reset and rethink. so that we will not lose track of the way the whole thing was founded. So that had been the major issue that almost crippled our party. And this time around, in 2027 election, the party will make sure that a Southerner will take the party flag from PDP. Anybody can, because the national, the national constitution doesn't talk about this. All right. The national constitution states anybody who wants to contest, you can go. Once you are more than 30 years old or whatever, you can contest. But the important thing with our party is that the doctrine is 8 years of presidency in the North, 8 years of presidency in the South. So turn by turn, Nigeria Limited. That was how we concluded. And we have just finished our NEC meeting. The crisis went beyond what it should be. So some of the older ones got involved and said, no, please, don't start dancing on the graves of these founding fathers who sought for a workable solution to this perennial problem embedded by the British since 1914. We want to be a nation, we must grow to be a nation. We must respect ourselves.
Yes.
We must respect your neighbors, no matter what tribe he is. Love your neighbor as yourself.
Thank you, Chief.
What would
that
not
was.
accept, don't do it to anybody else. But
Thank you very much.
We have sorted out that one out. That's the status
all right,
of our party.
Good one. You're really giving it to us here, Chief. We want to tell our viewers also, those that want to contribute, you're free to send in your questions. Those of you that have questions, as you follow us. So let's have another lady in the house. Fiona from the UK, London. Fiona, go ahead with your question.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you again, Chief. There's so many things that I want to ask you. You mentioned something about wanting to hand over to the youth, but really, if we look at the cold face of things, the people that are in the corridors of power and that control what's in the corridors of power are people who are not the youths. But more importantly, and as a diasporan, you mentioned something about PDP. You said 6 geopolitical zones.
Right.
ADC, the new bride in town, they acknowledge the diaspora as the 7th geopolitical zone. Does it mean that as diasporans, the rest of our country doesn't really consider us of that much import? Because I don't really hear many other political parties talk about the diaspora in the kind of way and, with the kind of gratis that I think we deserve. I think the diaspora should really be acknowledged for not just the financial input they bring into Nigeria, but everything else that comes with living outside Nigeria. It's not always easy for us as Nigerians being away from home. So I think that the way the system is, it doesn't really recognize us. And you just mentioned the six, but this was not what I wanted to ask you. But when you talked about the geopolitical zones, I really thought about diaspora and how the diasporans can become relevant in Nigerian politics.
Thank you, young lady. Yes, the diaspora. Nobody will write you off. Nobody can say you are not important. The real issue is this. When you talk about diaspora, you are spreading from South America to North America to Canada, all the way to Europe, all the way to Asia, back to some other parts of Africa, to Australia and all that. How do we compute that? We here, we are even yet to know the real census of Nigeria. It will come. There are some of our people who have participated as aspirants, candidates, and these who live abroad. But when the time comes, they come home. You got to be home to go back to your villages and sell yourself to them as aspirants campaign there. Nobody has excluded you, but we are still homegrown. We are still trying to, get ourselves and know that, okay, Mr. This and that, there is constituency this, constituency that. The people have voted for. I know some who live in England and that have, during the election period like this, they've been home
Of
trying to
course.
sell themselves to their people. So nobody will write you guys off. Nobody.
Okay.
But
All right.
it is the workability of it.
Okay.
How do we apportion it? Those who are living in South America, those who are living in main America and in Canada, in fact, you know that some Nigerians living in Alaska.
I
There
know.
are some Nigerians
Nigerians are living everywhere, so to be fair. So,
everywhere.
yeah.
So will we just say diaspora? Who?
Who?
So
Okay.
you have to look at it and head back. Let's join up with those who are here. The experiences you have learned there, bring them home to be able to sell these new ideas to your people in your various countries, because nobody in diaspora doesn't have a fallback at home. So you come back, you sell the ideas to them, and let the electoral process, for God's sake, be justifiable, be fair,
That's the key thing. Yeah.
be equitable, so that there are no manipulators, junkies who go and manipulate, and then at the final analysis, they call themselves honorable, this governor, that the president, this, that. Falsehood. And if you build your house on a false foundation, it will collapse. Let's all work together. Let us. I've been shouting about this electoral process because it was a shock. I am a computer engineer. I was a weapons systems engineer in the Navy. I mean, imagine we are at sea, and we are at war. Somebody fired a missile at us. The missile is coming. Our radar has picked it up. The computer will compute in microseconds the time of flight of that missile to your ship. And then you now suddenly said, oh, we have a glitch.
There's a glitch.
You know what that means? You are dead like dodo.
Dead, for sure.
There is no system designed that will not be robust enough. If there is one side that is the one route that is blocked, there will be so many other routes. All we want is the result, instant result. And that's why we are saying, these people who are now going to be the managers, the supervisors of election, for God's sake, in the interest of this massive country that has refused to remain the giant of Africa, it's a disgrace to us. Look, we spent a lot of money fighting to release Mandela in South Africa. We spent a lot of money fighting to release the Rhodesians down at the Zambia, whatever they call themselves. We fought in Angola. We fought in the Congo. We fought in Somalia. We fought in Sierra Leone. We fought in Liberia. Where are we? Where is that giant of Africa? Why are we degrading? Everybody, even those of you who live abroad now, you show your passport Nigeria, they say stand this way. There's no respect anymore. Look at the amount of contributions we have made within the same Africa. And look, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations is a Nigerian. Do you believe that? A Nigerian woman. So, for God's sake, let us respect the Almighty God. Whether you are a Muslim or Christian, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Love your neighbor as yourself. You don't need to, he's just telling you, love your Yoruba man as yourself, or love your Igbo man. Anybody can be your neighbor. Let us show this sense of belonging, this sense of love, this sense of oneness, so that we can move together. It doesn't matter to me. I'm a Lagosian. All right? Lagos was built by opening the doors because it's a trading center. We hardly do anything agriculture in Lagos, nothing. People bring their wares here. But Lagos is the center of commerce in this West Africa. We allow everybody, bring your wares. If it's good, we buy. You make your money, you want to get a plot to build your house, build your house. When I was in school, I had so many friends from all over the country who are, their parents came here and we grew up to be friends. I just think, why is it not possible? What is the greed in us?
Sorry,
what is
sir.
the avarice in us?
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. You
Right.
mentioned something about making sure that the elections are going to be fair in terms of process. How can we, is there a way that we can actually make sure that happens? Or is it just a dream for us that we can have a system that will work? Is that a real thing, or is that just in fantasy land?
And I told you that the same Ghana government bought the same system that we are using.
I'm aware.
Right? They used it. It was seamless. 3/4 to the end of the election, the sitting president accepted that they had lost because the system was working. In our own case, they said there was a glitch. A glitch at the H hour and on the D-Day. It is criminal. And then the company that sold it to us then quickly said, wait, don't mess up with our system. There was no glitch. We were watching you online. You switched off your system. So what do you do with your character? Line them all up and put them in jail.
Accountability.
They were happy.
Yeah.
They were happy to say, oh, okay, we revert back to manual. Something you spent, Burari, but spent so much money, millions of dollars to buy this new equipment, to modernize the technology of the process of electing people, only to be manipulated again and messed up.
So if there's been no
accountability, our problem in Nigeria?
So if there was no accountability, then what's our guarantee that going forward there's going to be any accountability come 2027?
The people of this country must wake up. That is why some of us are now campaigning, the youth of this country, because you can see that if you put wrong people to manage your resources, they will not manage the resources for the benefit of the people. They manage the resources for their own goddamn benefit. And that's not nation building. It is not. You people abroad, you must be involved. You must be, some of us here at 80, already I've gotten my flight ticket, my boarding pass. It's only when they will call my flight that what am I still looking for? I should thank the Almighty God that I have lived up to this level, to the 8th floor of life. If we can't tell the truth, who will tell it? They don't teach history anymore. What is the intention of not teaching history? Because you learn from the mistakes of the past and avoid the avoidable so that you go forward. You keep quiet. I grew up here. My great-granduncle, Papa Herbert Macaulay, was my great-granduncle. He was the first Nigerian who established a political party in 1922 in Lagos. And Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was like his political son. He didn't discriminate. In fact, he was going up and down, and came back in 1946, developed pneumonia, and he died in the course of it. So why do we hate ourselves? What are we looking for? The day you die, what do you carry in that casket? What? Nothing. So you'll be remembered for your contribution to the society. And that is far more important. So
thank you,
all those countries you guys are living
thank you
in,
very
they
much,
were built by
Chief.
some people.
Thank you very much, Chief. Chief, we're having comments also from the WhatsApp chat room. It's similar to what Fiona just asked. Somebody saying, if we still have same structure in INEC to conduct 2027, then are we not fooling ourselves? Will it not be, we living, I mean, that's a question
Living
from
in
what, before
fool's
we go to that
paradise.
question, let's have Raji from Lagos, Nigeria. Raji, go ahead with what.
Chief, I'm
Yes.
really very glad to be here again with you. And I've enjoyed all that you have said. And even though our ages are far apart, I think we are looking at the same page. You spoke about nation building. Nation building. You have mentioned it so many times that Nigeria is still a country, yet a nation, and that we need to build the nation. You also mentioned the constitution that you are running. No matter how much they amend this constitution, it was built on quicksand, and that structure on it will eventually collapse. Is there a possibility, sir, that the country could revert to the 1963 constitution that was suspended after the first coup? Because what we have now, we start with we the people, essentially is a scam. It's illegitimate. It is only the 1963 constitution that can have that opening as the opening statement. Is it possible that, also because of the kind of government we are running now, it's a zero sum winner takes all thing? Is it possible for us to ever revert to the 1963 constitution, which was parliamentary?
Yeah, you see, let me say this. We discussed this at the last, I think 2014. The first civilian president set up a review of the constitution designed by the military, handed over to us by General Abdul Salam. There was a lot of hue and cry, and he then constituted very, very eminent, knowledgeable, of all generations. The younger generation, the Gen Z were there, the older ones, and it was a mixture. I was a member of that constitutional conference. If you look at that the report of that conference, speaks a lot. This particular statement you made was raised in a subcommittee, which was headed. The committee consisted of Papa Adebanjo, Papa Olaniwun Ajayi, Professor Jerry Gana, Chief Falaye, a host of other Nigerians. I was the youngest in that committee. Now, the 1963 Constitution spoke a lot about parliamentary and the regional, systems. After their contribution, I asked them, I said, Papa, let me say this. If you go now to, let's say, Ogun State, and tell Ogun State people you are moving back to Ibadan, or you tell the Ekiti people you are not only going back to Ibadan, but you first of all go back to Akure, or tell the Katsina people you people are moving back to Kaduna, the amount of venom, the amount of violence, instant violence you will reach will discourage you from heading in that direction. We've created the states. Let it remain as the United States of Nigeria. Now, I remember very, very well that the issue of local government I just told you about Lagos, which was designed by the military. They gave Lagos 20 local governments. Kano has 44. And every local government collects revenue allocation from the federation account every 30 days. 20 local governments here, the largest state in population and in electoral value. 20. Now, and most of the constituencies are also based on these local governments. Go to the Southeast. First of all, Southeast has 5 states. Why? Why should they have 5 states? It's a short change. Justice, fairness, and equity must be the outplay. Why? We have 6, South has 6, North Central 6, Northeast 6, North West 7 states. I said, look, let's go back, restructure, and reassign devolution of power to the states level. Whatever local governments you need to have, let it be designed by that state. We copied the American system. Recently, we heard that Trump and his team are trying to redraw the electoral constituencies and all that to give them advantage in Texas. And that is still ongoing now. You know, so it's not left only to Nigeria. It's ongoing. And now the Democrats ran away so that they won't form a quorum. They ran away to Chicago. And they are waiting for them. How they can pass it without them, I don't know. But there should be legality. Let this man, Mr. Bola Tinubu, the president of this country, bring out from the archives the report of the 2014 confab. It addresses a lot of issues. Nobody, Buhari, as Jonathan handed it over to Buhari, he said, okay, put it in the archives. Because he still supports his own concept of operation. And it's not working. It can never work. Bola is there now. Bring it out from the archives. Let us even start discussing it. Let's start debating it. So that every local government, go to America. Who designs how many local governments you want? Cut your coat according to the available cloth, not to your size. Maine is the smallest state. They could only afford only one bicameral, only one House of Reps. They don't have chambers, the Senate chamber. But look at California, the largest state, the 6th largest economy in the world, is still part of the United States. Hardly does it run to Washington to go and collect this and collect that and collect every month the collection of things. The natural environment, take my state, the water of Lagos, the Ports Authority in Lagos here. You know, when the British came, they centralized all the governance, and that's what we have passed down. New York City, who controls JFK? He's the mayor of the city of New York. Who controls the water, their ports? The mayor of New York controls the ports. If you go to Mississippi, down there, who controls the ports there? Who controls the ports in California? It is the state government or the county. So there are so many things that the federal government are dabbling on, and we concentrated this power as if it's a military administration. It is not. This is not democracy. And we've been talking and talking. Now Bola is there. I am challenging him publicly and internationally. Let him bring out the report of the confab of 2014 for people to start debating and discussing it. I'm not saying it is the finality, but let us debate it. They kept it, and we are still using the one brought out by General Abdul Salami. It's not working. It cannot work. What is the business of the president on my local government in Lagos, or in Calabar, or in Sokoto, or in Borno? What has it got to do with him? But that's where they go and get their allocation for their funding. Look at the security situation. We only have the national police. How many are the national police that can effectively come? Because policing is about community living. So if you now carry them and say only the national police, look at the mayhem, the kidnappings, all the unnecessary things going on in this country. Can they cope with it? But the moment you allow state police, even in America, you know, they have the county police, they have the state police, then they have the FBI. Still, the people still commit crime. So there's so much to be looked at, to be taken, to be discussed for effective management of our nation. And I am pleading with them. All these people in the National Assembly, state and national, what do they call it, Senate, and this and that. What are they doing there? What are they doing? They must make sure they make this country a country livable, sustainable, enviable, the giant of Africa. Otherwise, it's the pages of history would be unkind to them. It's not that people have not discussing this. They are very, like you said about the 1963 Constitution. We looked at it. This nation has moved forward. They have created so many states. You can't roll back. If you do that, the amount of mayhem that will emerge, you won't be able to manage it. So let it be the United States of Nigeria. All the state governors or the state people will look at how many local governments they can afford to have. And if they cannot pay, it has no business to do with the central government. You be your business. Look at us now, 20 for Lagos, 44 in Kano, 27 in Jigawa, Ogun, 20, we 20. How? Those are things that we and when they get there, they keep quiet. Keep quiet for what? Whatever allowances or salaries you get, someday you will cease to be a member of that place. And you come back to the field that you are experiencing here. I beg them, in the name of the Almighty God, let them do a rethink. This country is blessed. This country is great. But the human people there, selfishness, self-aggrandizement.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes, good one, Chief. Thank you, viewers. What you've been watching is face-to-face interview, SSM face-to-face interview today, the 6th of August 2025. We're here with Chief Bode George. Chief, there are actually more questions, but because of time, what we're going to do now is a round up. George, I don't know if Marlene or George or Fiona, I don't know if there's okay. Lady Marlene,
I do have, yes.
Okay.
I do have a small question, because Chief, several times you're an elder statesman indeed, and I thank God for us having you today. But for several, at least twice, you mentioned the Jay-Z's in your conversation. My little question now is: many young Nigerians feel alienated from the political system. Now, how can your political party, PDP, or other political parties, can they be trusted, especially PDP? Can we trust them again? The youth trust them again? And if so, do you believe that the youths are ready to lead the government at this point?
You know, yesterday, we started the process in Lagos, and it's going to resonate all across this country. We set up an elders committee to vet and screen the younger generations who are aspiring to hold the offices of chairman, secretary, publicity secretary, woman leader, youth leader, and in the state. And my address to them was, look, we want to vet all these younger ones coming. Want you to tell us about your character. These younger ones coming. What you do for a living. Want you to tell us. What has been your contribution to the party. And so they will vet them and then, allow the report to be taken by the state and viewed. So you are giving them an opportunity, because the last time we had it, all kinds of junkies came on. Nobody vetted them. They ended up, when you hear some of the things, the atrocities some of them have committed, you wonder, you want to be a member of this? You want to, how? That is the new norm. And that was as a result of the meeting we had last week or 2 weeks ago, the NEC meeting of our party, saying we need to get back. You see, those old men who conceptualized the idea of forming this party, they had certain design, certain levels that you cannot, if you fall below that level, you cannot be given an opportunity to manage the party. So let's try and get those things back. That's why I said we are repositioning the party. We are going back to those good days for which these old men spent a sizable part of their life. Most of them had passed on. So they handed over to people like us. And like I said, me too, we are going. But before, let's hand over to these younger ones so that they continue with the system. Forget about personal aggrandizement, self-centeredness. Now you alone, now you alone, now you alone, which is the greatest evil in this country. What are you looking for? If you are not for service to the people, then don't get there. Look for something else to do in your life. So we just started, and it's going to resonate by, I think, the 20-something of this month. They set up a zoning committee, they'll bring out their report, and then we go to the National Convention in November. And that means that the party is coming back. Unlike before, the way it was mandled and manipulated, and the end product we have seen. Because you can only manipulate to a point. God told us, trust him and behave according to the dictates as listed in the Holy Book. And it is both in Quran, it is the Old Testament is the same like in Quran and Torah. It's only the New Testament that is different, where we brought the Lord Jesus Christ, that he was the direct Son of the Almighty God. We remind our people, please, let's play the way it should be played. Like we say in my local parlance, that let's do it right.
The way it should be.
Yes,
nice.
There's nobody who is perpetual.
Yes,
you
sir.
Have a date of exit. What would they say about you?
So, sir, the answer is yes, the youths are ready now, sir.
They are ready, like Freddy.
Okay.
you need to see them.
Judge, go ahead.
Yeah.
Judge,
Chief.
Yes. Yes.
You know, you're known for telling it like it is, and that's one
Yes.
beautiful thing about you. You're not afraid of
Thank you.
anybody, and
Nobody.
it's just so refreshing to have you, still speaking the truth, in spite
Oh,
of everything that is going on. Now, let me ask you this question: if a political marriage proposal came from ADC or any of the emerging thought forces, would PDP consider it, or
but
are we still married to the memory of 1999?
no. A political party is like a police station. Go to any police station at any time of the day. The doors are never locked. Never.
Okay.
So if we don't shut the doors, because it will now become like what do they call this? Like a cult. You come in. These are the do's and don'ts. If you swing in that line, then you sign on. But if you don't swing in that line, you come, then you'll be told that you are in a wrong party. Like with all these people who headed into this direction, they went down there so that they can pick up the ticket. Because there is a standard format by which you can take the ticket of our party, the presidential ticket. Until 2031, the ticket of our party will remain in the South. So that 8 years in the South, then 8 years in the North.
In the North.
Simple.
Thank you so
But
very
if
much.
you don't like the heat, get out of the kitchen. They've gone now to set up their own, fine and dandy. We go back to the people for Nigerians to decide. But as far as PDP is concerned, this platform, 8 years in the North, 8 years in the South. 8 years up there, 8 years
8
there.
years
The
down here.
babas that did it, don't let us keep dancing on their graves. Please.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, sir.
And I want to thank you for the opportunity of
Chief,
discussing with you. I enjoyed it.
yes,
It was not
yes.
very nice.
No, we are honored, sir. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you very much, Chief. Now, viewers,
Yeah.
Chief, I'm going to send some of the questions direct to your WhatsApp. Maybe, yes, if there's.
And I'm sorry I came late because
Yes, sir.
my father-in-law, my wife's father, just passed on.
Oh,
Okay.
So
our condolences,
an
sir.
erudite gentleman, a
Mm-hmm.
civilized human spirit.
Wow.
Was an intellectual. Papa had his PhD in Manchester
Wow.
when he was 29 years old,
Mm.
and he died at the age of 93. We were always discussing politics. He was so concerned about it. So
Our
I'm
condolences.
going to miss him. Yeah.
Yes,
Our condolences. By the
Chief,
way, Chief,
do
1
we
second.
have? Sorry, George. Can we
Yes.
have Jerry Ghana? Can you please connect Jerry Ghana to the network? We need to speak with Professor
You need
Jerry
to
Ghana.
speak to him.
Yes, sir.
I will. You
Okay.
need to speak because he was
Yes.
the pro tem secretary when they
Yes,
had
sir.
the G14.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes, he was the pro tem secretary. And myself himself, and then Papa Jinwoboro
Yes.
was brought in there, agent, for those are the ones that formed the G14, and in his old age, he still managed to come. All the others, majority of them, I think only one or two are still alive.
Beautiful.
That generation.
So do that for us, sir. We want
I
Jerry
sure
Ghana.
will. I sure
All
will.
right, sir.
I will.
Thank you. Yeah, George.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Uh-huh.
compliment you, sir. Listening
Thank
to you remind me of Caleb in the Bible, who at the age of 85 said, "Today I feel like I'm still 40," and that's what we're seeing here. It is just incredible. You and
Thank
Edward
you.
Clark, you guys are.
Papa.
We are waiting for you on the 10th floor. You cannot go anywhere. We need you. 10th floor, 10th floor.
Yeah. Amen
That's
to
where
that.
we
All
need
right,
you there.
gentlemen. Thank you all very.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Wish you well.
It's an honor. We've been blessed with all the information. So, viewers, that was Chief Olabode Ibiyinka George.
Thank you.
He has come. He has given us some great insights on the state of the nation, Nigeria. I want to thank George from Toronto, Canada. I want to thank Fiona from London, UK, Lady Marlene from London, UK, and Raji Olayinka from Lagos, Nigeria. Till we come again, gentlemen. Jerry Ghana is on next. Jerry Ghana is to come. So work on Jerry Ghana, guys. So to come again next time. You all have a beautiful meeting. God bless you.
Thank you. Wish you well, Lord. Thank you.